What's up, JDs and Littlemen? Today we're going to talk about leash pressure, what it is, when to apply it, how to apply it. In my opinion, it's one of the most underrated techniques in dog training. When taught properly, it looks like you have power steering on your dog, and it gives you an immense amount of control and a hugely beneficial communication tool. Let's jump right in. First up, I need to explain to you guys the overall general concept of it before I jump in and show you how I actually do it with dogs. I'm going to use a slip leash to demonstrate this. You guys know the dogs that you'll see, like they'll have a choke collar on and they're just pulling and they're gagging and wheezing and they're just choking, and people are like, well, quit pulling. They won't quit pulling because it is an involuntary response. It's called opposition reflex. People have it too. If I walk up and push you, your body's going to reflexively lean into it so you don't get pushed over backwards, right? So if your dog is going that way and you're pulling back this way, they have to lean into it so they don't get pulled over backwards, right? So when I say involuntary response, I mean it's mostly an involuntary response. It presents itself as if it is. So that's how you need to look at it. It's almost just reflexive in nature. Some dogs are going to be naturally more resistant to it than others. There are some dogs, if they have any type of poor training history or a mistrust in people, they're going to really fight the leash pressure even more. So there's a lot that goes into preparing the dog to understand this. But when done properly, it complements the teaching phase of training extremely well. So in the first phase of training, what we do is what I call the teaching or acquisition phase. That's when we are teaching the dogs what we want them to do, how to do a command, what sit means, what down means, what heel means, all that stuff. At a certain point, though, just because they know the command in your training environment, that has no carryover into whether or not they're going to do it when you go outside. And with distractions or anything else. It's the story of the oldest time. Like, you can get the dog to do all the commands in the living room for a treat, but as soon as you go outside and see other dogs, everything's out the window, right? So this is kind of an intermediate step before we get to where we can actually correct a dog for noncompliance or further behavior. So we're not talking about punishment or corrections today. This is all still a form of reinforcement, and I'll explain in a minute. So after we get through the teaching phase of training and we've taught the dogs what we want them to do, the next step is to teach them how to handle and react to pressure. And again, especially in the pet dog world, different dogs are going to respond differently to this. Some dogs take to it naturally. Some dogs really struggle. So I don't really leave any of that up to chance. I have a really methodical way to introduce it, and I'm going to show that to you right now. So think about, so pretend my hand is the dog, right? So if I put pressure on this way, so this is the dog here, I'm putting pressure on this way. If I put too much and I kick in that reflex, that dog's going to fight me. I don't want that. What I want is for the dog to realize that when I put a little bit of pressure on this leash in this direction and they go the same direction as it, look at that, the pressure goes away. So in the dog's mind, I want them to truly believe that they are the one turning the pressure off. This is a form of reinforcement. It's called negative reinforcement. So when I put pressure on this way and the dog removes the negative, when the dog subtracts, removes the pressure from the equation, the pressure goes away. That is rewarding to the dog, just the relief of getting that pressure to go away, even though it's very subtle. From a psychology standpoint, this works. Now, what we also do is we kind of double whammy it, and as soon as they turn the pressure off, I say yes, because we've already conditioned what this means, and they come over here and they get food. So the first reward, bam, that happens when they turn it off, and then I just put icing on the cake to encourage them to do it. And then we apply that same concept, so if I put leash pressure up, the dog's here, the dog's going to go into a sit. A little bit of pressure down, dog's going to go into a down. Now, slip leashes are very beneficial for this, but my preference is to start most dogs. If we have a dog that's very sensitive to leash pressure, I'll start with a slip leash most likely. But elephant in the room, we're going to talk about what a prong collar is. If you have used one, hopefully you have used it correctly. There's a lot of old, kind of outdated training approaches. I know, like, it's how I was originally taught, where this was kind of considered like a way to up the ante. If you had a stubborn dog, you could put this on and cause more discomfort by just yanking on them. That's not how we're using it. When used properly, this is actually more gentle than putting the amount of pressure on their neck that a slip leash would need. It's better than like a flat buckle collar, because a buckle collar is just putting all the pressure right there on their trachea. Whereas this, when we put this, and I'll show you here, those prongs are rounded and blunt. These are not sharp, they're not spikes. As long as you get a good brand. Hermspringer is really the only one I recommend. Don't get the Chinese junk. Some of them are like, these prongs are just cut straight off and they're sharp. Don't use those. Don't use the little silly rubber covers. You don't need them. Just get a Hermspringer. Make sure they're nice and blunt and rounded. You're good to go. So when this goes on the dog like so, and you put that pressure on, you'll see here how it evenly contracts around and distributes that pressure. And we are using this in the same fashion as I just showed you with that slip leash. So a little bit of pressure. It's just a little bit of pressure, and they go the same direction. They turn it off. And I'm going to show you what that looks like here in a second with some dogs that I have in for training. This, again, is a really powerful communication tool when you introduce it properly and you teach the dog what it is, why it's coming on, what to do when it comes on, how to turn it off, and all that stuff. Which, again, I'm going to show you how to do it. The dog should keep their mood high while you're doing this. They should stay motivated. Their ears should be up. Their tail should be wagging. If they're starting to flatten and shut down on you, you're using too much pressure or you're pushing them too hard too fast. So the following couple clips I'm going to show you are 2 real sessions with dogs that I just did this morning. They're at that point in their training process where they're ready to learn this with a couple commands, and I wanted to show you guys what it looks like with dogs that have really never experienced it before. So enjoy.
And then I'm going to very, very gently just apply a little bit of pressure there. Yes. Just towards my left leg here. The purpose of this is to see, yes, if I'm going to get a lot of resistance. Some dogs, as soon as they feel a little bit of pressure, they start pulling back. I don't want that. I want him to learn that all he has to do is go the same direction as the leash. So again, I just have like 1 or 2 fingers on it. Yes. Now some dogs will resist a little bit. What you can do is put some food in your hand. Yes. And show them that when I guide you with the leash, you can just come over and get the food. It takes a little bit of coordination. But it works. Now, if they're responding appropriately to that, like I want him, come on. I want him anticipating the food, yes, as I guide him with that leash. Now, when he's responding appropriately like that, he already knows sit. It's not a bad idea. Yes, if you're going to practice something like this, make sure, sit. Yes, make sure he can do it this readily. Because what we're going to do is teach him that when I apply a little bit of pressure up, he turns it off by sitting. Yes. So just a little bit of gentle pressure. Yes, as soon as he starts to sit, now he's a pretty quick dog, so I got to be quick as well. But as soon as he starts to sit, yes. I turn it off, give him some food. Yes. Now the practical use of this is now I have a way to communicate that I'm going to enforce a stay. So this is technically considered negative reinforcement, meaning this is a form of a reward. Turning off this pressure, yes, is rewarding. Yes. So I'm not punishing him, not correcting anything yet. I'm just allowing him to kind of learn what I'm prompting him to do is also in his best interest, because a little bit, and it is almost no pressure on his neck I'm using. Yes. But a little bit of tension on his neck, he turns it off by sitting. It's easy. So I want him to be having this much fun with it. Yes, good boy. If the dog starts looking flat or shut down, their ears are back, you would use too much pressure too soon. Place. We can also use it for place. So now we can actually start teaching him, though I'm going to have you stay. So if he gets off, nope. A little bit of pressure back towards place. Good. Yes. Just gives them more information to go on as I start to teach these dogs what rules surround each of these commands. I'm not just playing a game with you. I'm not saying go to place, yes, just for a treat. There's also rules that surround it. So when I put you on place, the expectation is all four paws on. Nope. Nope. All four paws on. He can sit, stand, lay down. I don't really care. Yes, as long as he stays up there. Now, what if I have a dog that's not quite as compliant, that's a little bit, or a lot of bit, more distracted? Like Gaia here. I already did a session with this earlier, so I know she knows it, but she's gonna resist a little bit more. So I have tension on. Yes, I'm just gonna help her. I'm not gonna try to force her to sit with the pressure. I want her to learn that sitting turns the pressure off. If I need to help her do that, I'm gonna help her do it. Yes, I want the path of least resistance. I don't want friction or any type of conflict introduced in the training. Sit. Yes, we'll take that. It's an inopportune moment for a shake off, but that's okay. So pressure up. Now, I have a decent amount, but I'm really just the one finger. Yes, I don't want to go any harder than that. All right. We'll get to really enforcing these rules later. This is, yes, still very early in the training process. Yes, but it should feel this easy. If it doesn't, you're doing something wrong. You're trying to go too hard or too fast. Hey, what's up? Yes. I like to mix it in still with a lot of engagement stuff. Let's go. Yes, good girl. I want to keep their desire to interact with me high. It can be a drag if I'm just doing a whole session like pressure on, pressure off, pressure on, pressure off. So I'll do some fun stuff. So I'm just going to try leaving this right here. There it is. Yes. I'm looking for that moment, that breaking point where she starts to sit. Now I can relax on the leash. And I'm sending the correct message. Yes. The sitting when you feel pressure is in your benefit. Yes. So what ends up happening is when I'm applying pressure on her neck, it becomes an indicator to the dog, yes, that if they perform the correct action, they get the reward. Let's go. Yes, good girl. There's a good girl. I'm gonna do one more. Yes, there you go.